All right, let's talk about seconds. Root motion by seconds. This one has a little bit of a wrinkle to it. Now we can do root motion by seconds ascending or descending. They can go either way. Ascending, however, is more common, so going up. Um, Now, if we just laid them all out in the sequence like this, it would be really familiar, right? Because that's, if we go up in seconds, let me do it with half notes the way I was doing it before. If we just go up by relationships of seconds, we're going to just end up with the plain old diatonic chord progression, right? So if I go all the way up, it's going to be the pattern that you already know. We've seen 100 times earlier. The straight up diatonic chord progression in order, because that's the relationship of a second, right? Root motion by second. So instead of going through that whole thing, because we've done that 100 times, you know what that looks like, let's focus on some of the most common two chord patterns that you see emerging in music. That would be something like a one chord to a two chord, right? Now I'm going to leave a gap here because we're going to come back. Another common one would be a four chord to a five chord, and back, a five to a four. Another common one would be a one down to a seven. That's something we see a lot, particularly in cadences. Also, the opposite of that, 7 up to 1, and 5 up to 6. Remember, this gets us to the relative minor, so that's fairly nice. Okay, let's label these really quick, and then I want to talk about our little wrinkle that happens here. So here we're going to call this 1. And this would be 2. This would be 4. And this would be 5. This is just plain diatonic chord progression stuff. Nothing too weird here. This is going to be 1. This is going to be diminished 7. This is going to be diminished 7, and this is going to be 1. And this is going to be 5 and 6. Okay. So I did all of these in just root position. Here's the wrinkle with these, though, and that's that this is exactly how we create parallel fifths and octaves, right? Moving from one chord to another. In all of these examples, there are parallel fifths. There's a fifth, there's a fifth. Parallel fifths. So motion by second is the most dangerous in terms of creating parallels. Now, let me just mention this really quick before we go into how to avoid the parallels. I've seen this question come up in these classes a lot. Like, what if I like the sound of parallels, right? That's totally okay. Here's the deal. I think I said this earlier, but I just want to reiterate it one more time. This idea of parallel fifths and octaves being bad, this is really relegated to counterpoint and 18th, 19th century harmony. If you're writing a pop song and you have parallel chords, that's totally fine. We don't care about parallelism in contemporary modern music nearly as much. It's not even a thing that most people can hear. Especially, I mean, when it's playing on a guitar and you're sliding bar chords up and down, that's all parallel. If you're sliding a bar chord around on a guitar, you're playing hundreds of parallel fifths and octaves all over the place, and they're all totally okay. So just remember that when we're really concerned about parallels here, what we're really concerned about is writing in a very specific style. And if you're doing more modern music, you don't have to worry about it so much. However, in music theory, we do like to focus on this particular style and knowing what's happening with our parallels. So I want to work through how to write these particular key progressions and avoid parallels. Let's hear what we got first. Okay, I just needed to hear that one at the end to resolve all of that. Okay, let's go to a new video and let's talk about part writing for these things and how we can make them avoid those nasty parallels that we only sometimes care about.